Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. Today I'm going to do a quick walk around video on a 2025 4Runner TRD Sport Premium model. With the TRD Sport, you do get the specific TRD wheels here. You've got the hood scoop up top. Now you notice that cosmetically, you're going to have not only the hood scoop, but you also have the gloss black. You'll see the gloss black trim on the front bumpers there. You'll see it on some, like for instance, the crossbars up top have the gloss black. And then you'll see some other cosmetic areas where I'll point out as we go around, but it will also have the gloss black kind of offset and basic standard on the TRD Sport Premium. You do have the LED fog lights, you do have the high definition headlamps, which you'll have on all of the 4Runner models. You have these little air dams here on the side. I'm not sure if there's an actual function benefit to it, but obviously it kind of gives it a distinct look. This one does have, or should say all the TRD Sport Premiums are going to have parking sensors both front and rear. Now they come standard with this air dam, and so the air dam is only held on by 4 bolts and 4 clips. You'll notice that it does have the tie downs. A lot of people have talked about that on the 24 Tacoma, or the lack of when it first came out. And so this having that obviously is a definite benefit. As far as safety features, you're going to have lane departure, you've got adaptive cruise control, you've got auto dimming headlamps. As I mentioned, you do have the pre-collision system with the parking sensors. Pre-collision is separate. But you notice this is a millimeter wave radar sensor behind here, and then of course you've got your camera up there right behind the rear view mirror. I didn't mention it before, but as part of the safety features you also have lane centering, and so lane centering has been out for a little while. I remember my 2022 Tundra had that feature, and it works, but it's only kind of worked haphazardly. What I would find is that when I turned it on, it would have a tendency to, it would go over and it would hit the line and it would kind of bounce you, kind of like a pinball, and it would kind of go back and forth in between the lines. And so I have a 2024 Tacoma now. That feature, and the same thing with the 4Runners, that feature works amazing. It wants to drive you straight down the line, and so if you happen to you know, at least have your hands on the steering wheel, you can be looking all over and it will keep you straight down the road. This does have the panorama view monitor, so you have one camera up front, you've got cameras on underneath the side view mirrors on both sides, and then you have one on the back. We talked about the black cosmetics, and so you'll notice that the high gloss black on the rear bumper there as well. Now, I've had a lot of people make the comment, so they do the overlay emblems on a lot of the vehicles, and you'll see that your TRD Sport is black, and then of course 4Runner back here is black, and then you'll see where it says Toyota and the liftgate is chrome. And so people, when they see that on a V-spec, which is a detailed list of equipment, they're like, well, if everything else is black, why do they have that in chrome? And honestly, when you see it together, it actually doesn't look too bad. It kind of sets it off, but it kind of makes the Toyota part stand out a little bit. Your buttons right here on the liftgate, one is going to lower the window all the way down. The other one, obviously you can raise it back up, but then the other one is to lock all the doors. They come standard with a receiver hitch. You do have 6,000 pound towing capacity with it. I want to point out the mud guards. So I don't know if you can see the mud guards. Now on my 2024 Tacoma, the mud guards were much narrower. And so they actually came out with these in 2025 for the Tacoma, but then they have them on the 4Runner too. And so with the Tacoma, they would come in about here. So these are probably 1.5 inches wider, at least on this side, than what the 2024 Tacoma was. And what I would notice is that I would have rock chips, and obviously this is a little bit different, but on the Tacoma it's more pronounced, the fender flare here. And so I would notice that the rock chips would build up there on that little fender flare. And obviously having the wider mud guards is going to definitely help and help prevent some of that. Now, you can put a leveling kit on these. And so with my Tacoma, I put a rough country leveling kit. It's just a 1.5 inch spacer that goes right up here in the front suspension. So it does not affect the back at all, but it does kind of level the vehicle out. Now you'll notice that the rake of the vehicle right now sits a little bit lower in the front, and they do that for towing purposes. Obviously when you put a trailer on, the tendency is to kind of the back end squats a little bit. Well, that just kind of levels it out when you're towing. Well, probably 80% of the time, most people are not towing. They're using it as just a daily driver. So if you want that look, or if you want to put a more aggressive tire, or maybe even a tire that's a little bit larger, you know, that having that leveling kit really helps. All right, let's go ahead and jump inside the vehicle, and we'll kind of go over some features inside, and kind of talk about some of the things that you can customize, not only in the dash, but like I said, just features inside the vehicle. All right, we're just gonna go just kind of a brief overview here, and then I'll do a separate video just talking about the customization of the dash. If you didn't already know, you do have the ability to customize what you see on both sides of the screen, and then you can actually change it. So like each of these gauges, you can actually have one single gauge if you wanted to, or you can eliminate the gauges on both sides. And I can show you that in that video where you can actually go in and customize everything. You do get the 14-inch screen. You do have the JBL Bluetooth speaker that you can take out. I've been playing a lot more golf this summer, and so I've actually used that a lot when I'm out playing golf. It's kind of nice to be able to take it out with you. Just hook it up to your phone real quick, and it pairs very easily. But it's nice to be able to take something with you. You know, it'd be great for a tailgater, or if you're using it for camping or what have you. They say it gives you about 12 hours of you know, usability or charge on that one speaker, and then when it comes time to charge it, you just plop it back in there, and it is part of your stereo system. So you definitely notice a difference when you take that speaker out. It doesn't quite sound the same. You'll notice that you do have the JBL audio program, or audio rather. You got your tweeters and the doors up there. There again, we talked about the cosmetics. So you got the gloss black around the speakers themselves. You do have a subwoofer in the back, and I'll kind of point that out when we open up the back and look at it. Now, this is the Softex seating, so you notice how you have the perforation. That's just a reflection right there. But you've got the perforation, and so it doesn't blow cold air, but it does have ventilated seats. And so you notice your controls here. So you got your heating, 3 different settings, and then you have a ventilation, 3 different settings. Now, I mentioned this in other videos before. When you have your ventilated seats on, you'll hear a little whistling noise. It seems like it's coming behind you, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it now. I can hear the fan up front more than I can hear the ventilation of the seats. But the wind blows behind your head, and so a lot of times you'll hear this noise kind of whistling behind your ears and wonder, like, where is that noise coming from? Well, it took a while to figure it out, but it's actually your ventilated seat. So if you ever have that issue, that's where it's from. Up here, they have the same button for hybrid models. So what this is for is if you have nobody sitting in the back seating, you can actually hit this, and what it does is turns off the vents going to the back. So turn that back on. Heated steering wheel. You got the big tactile buttons here, and so you got front defrost, rear defrost. You do have heated mirrors. They are tied in with your rear window defroster. Of course, the mode. You got recirculating air, and then of course AC. You got the nice large stereo control button here. You also have controls on the steering wheel where you can adjust the volume control. You have the ability to hang up or answer a phone call. Your left and right, and then up and down on the OK button here. This operates the center MIDI screen. On the right hand side of the steering wheel, if you wanted to turn the cruise control on, and keep in mind it's on the steering wheel now instead of behind the steering wheel like it used to be in previous generation 4Runners. But if you wanted to turn it on, if you were to hit the button here, obviously it does have to be in drive and you have to be traveling before it's going to work. But once you do turn it on, that turns on not only your cruise control, but it also turns on lane centering. Now, if you notice here on the dash, you have your lane centering button or icon right there, and right above it you'll see a gray steering wheel. Now, when you have your cruise control is set and that feature is turned on, that actually turns green and, no, excuse me, it turns white in color when it's turned on. Otherwise, the steering wheel is gray. If you just wanted to turn on cruise control without turning lane centering on, you could turn it on here and then hit your adaptive cruise control. Now, if you watch here on the screen, down at the bottom, you see the steering wheel and it says adaptive cruise mode. Well, there's 4 different settings. And so what it seems like to me, and I've heard people say it's actually based on speedometer, or speed rather, and then it's like seconds per tracking distance. To me, it seems like about 10 car lengths is about 4, or is 4 when you have 3 lines there. It seemed like somewhere around 7 car lengths, 2 is around 5, and so forth. You do have home link on the bottom of the rear view mirror here. Now you notice that this one does not have the digital rear view mirror. It is available, but this one does not have it. It is an upgraded feature. It does have the moonroof. Now, moonroof is optional on the TRD Sport Premium models. In our region, I'm in Oregon, so in our Northwest region, every single TRD Sport Premium and TRD Off-Road Premium are coming in with the moonroof. I did a locate the other day and I found that, you know, the closest one without a moonroof was like 500 miles away. And so they do make them rather, but unfortunately they're just sending them into our region with the moonroof. You do have a shade that you can pull closed. When you open your moonroof, it obviously opens up the shade at the same time, but you have to manually close it. Now, up here, you have a button that will actually open or close the rear liftgate, and the rear window does go all the way back down into the liftgate itself. A button there for your dome lights. You do have map reading lights on both driver and passenger side. You have an SOS button right here, and hopefully you can see that okay. If you've ever heard of any GM products that had OnStar, this works very similar to that. So they have a feature called Safety Connect. If you get into an accident and it triggers the airbags to deploy, excuse me, it will automatically send a signal to Toyota, and they can actually try to contact you through the vehicle system. If you don't respond back within a certain period of time, then they would send an ambulance to your location. Now, the vehicle comes standard with 2 years of roadside assistance. So let's say you're out somewhere, you have no phone reception, you're not quite sure where you're at, and you have a flat tire. If you don't want to mess a flat tire, you could push the SOS button here. They can actually see where you're at or your location based on your grid coordinates, and then they can send help to you. So there is some additional benefits, but you can also use this Safety Connect, or the SOS button rather, if you get into an accident and you need emergency help. That is a free 10-year trial. It comes free with the vehicle. All right, on this side of the steering wheel, you do have the button that opens the gas door. You got a button here to open the lift gate in the back. You do have a power inverter, so you got 100 watt or 400 watt that can be run, and then there is a toggle, so you'll see the light come on there. So if you're running 100 watt, you just have to have the accessories on, so the vehicle does not have to be started. But if you're running the 400 watt, the vehicle does have to be running. You got your auto dimming headlamps. This button here is to level out the headlight. So if you're towing, a lot of times the vehicle will kind of squat in the back, and then your headlights are shining off in the sky. Well, this allows you to level those headlights down, and number one, you're not blinding people, but number two, you have better visibility. This dims or brightens the panel lights on the dash itself. You notice that you do have the memory seating here. Your power windows, power locks, power mirrors for both driver and passenger side are right here on the door handle. You do have a release. Now, I'm sorry, I said release. On some vehicles, on the 4Runners, they have a release that you just pull down. Well, this happens to be electronic. So you do have tilt and telescopic steering wheel, but like I said, it's all electronic. All right, down here, I got my phone in the cradle here, but you do have the Qi wireless charge pad here. Once you lay your phone in the cradle, you'll notice that it will start showing you that it's charging right there. And then if you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on, excuse me, it lights up on the side here to let you know that it's actually charging. You do have some additional charge ports right there. No charge ports inside here. You have vents on the back of the console there for air conditioning for the passengers in the back. Above, you do have vanity mirrors with adjustable visors. So I think that's kind of a brief overview on the vehicle. I'm going to go back and open up the rear area, the rear liftgate area, and we can kind of talk about that. Okay, here you do have electronic emergency brake. So as soon as you put it in park, it's automatically going to set the emergency brake. As soon as you take it out of park, it will automatically release it. You do have a hold button. What that's for is, some people call it a hill start assist. So if you pull up to, let's say you're at a stoplight and you're on an incline waiting for the light to change, rather than having to sit there and hold your foot on the brake, you can hit the hold button. That sets a parking brake for you, and then whenever you're ready to take off, all you do is step on the gas and automatically releases the brake. Yeah, you do have shift on the fly 4-wheel drive, so there's a button here on the side. If you want to shift into 4 high, you can do so up to 62 miles per hour. But you just shift it over into 4 high. You'll see it just locked in. It says 4 high there. If you wanted to go into low range, I would recommend putting it in and make sure it engages in 4 high first. What I've noticed with Toyotas, and this is just past experience, is that unless you engage it in 4 high first before you go to 4 low, it seems like it doesn't want to engage quite properly. So anyway, put it in 4 high, make sure that it engages. It may take just a little rocking back and forth just to get it to engage, but once you do, then you can just put it in neutral, shift over to 4 low, put it in drive, and take off. You do have tow haul and drive mode. So tow haul is going to hold your RPMs an additional 500 RPMs before it allows it to shift. But also, when you're coming down a mountain pass, if you happen to be towing a trailer, rather than having to ride the brakes all the way down, using the tow haul does help it kick down a gear lower to help use engine's compression, help slow the vehicle down. So you got an additional benefit there as well. Drive mode, you'll notice here it's just a turn of the dial, but you notice right now we got eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode. Now, eco mode is going to get you the best fuel economy, sport will give you the most performance, and normal is just in between. What I have noticed in sport mode is that in sport mode it does stiffen up the steering wheel, and you notice that your brake and your throttle response is a little bit quicker. All right, in the back, we talked about the 110 outlet. So like I mentioned, you got a 100 watt and 400 watt. You got your JBL subwoofer back here. You notice that you have cargo lights. So these cargo lights up here, this is an additional option, and it definitely helps give you a lot better visibility back here, especially at nighttime. This is a standard cargo light. This is the upgraded LED lights. Got the tonneau cover. Obviously it goes in right there. Now you notice that this has cup holders back here, but there's no third row seat. So obviously if there was a third row seat, that would be the benefit of using the cup holders, but they use the same configuration even on the ones that don't have the third row seat. All right, first year we've had the power liftgate. So you have the ability to set a height adjustment on it. So you get ready to close it, move it to wherever you want it, you push and stop it. The way you preset it is just push and hold it. Once you get there, you'll hear it beep a couple times, and that will set a height adjustment on it. Now, people have asked, well, what is this button for on the right where it shows a lock? So what that's for is if you had your hands full, you were ready to lock up the vehicle, you could hit the button, it would close the liftgate, and it will lock the doors for you. All right, inside second row seating. This out of the way. All right, I'm not tall by any means. The seat moved back so I could get out of it. So it has that auto function that actually moves back as far as it can to help you get in and out of the vehicle. I'm not tall, I'm only 5'10", but you can see that even with the seat all the way back, I still have a little leg room back here. We talked about the air conditioning vents back there. You do have a 110 outlet with quick charge ports here. And then you've also got a fold down armrest. It does have cup holders in it too. There again, we talked about the gloss black accents there. So I think that's kind of a quick overview. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and make another video now regarding the customization of the dash and then what all the settings do in it. So thanks for watching.